Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's DLloyd. So I came across this pretty interesting article by Fadeaway World that talked about the 10 NBA players who could be traded this offseason if their teams disappoint in the playoffs. So all playoff teams, if they disappointed, they could see these guys getting traded. I thought it would be cool to go through and give you guys my opinions as to whether or not I agree with the players that they give. And of course, I would love to hear from you guys, some of the players you guys agree with or disagree with in the comment section below as well. So let's go ahead. Let's get things started off pretty early, man, in this article. As you see me scrolling down, the first player that they have on the list, and I will have to say, as always, I will link the link to the full article in the description below as well. The first player they have on this list is Tobias Harris. Now, I can flat out say right away that I don't see Tobias Harris being shipped out this all season, even if they do disappoint. I don't think Tobias Harris is really the issue, and really the value that you will receive back, I don't think all of a sudden makes Philly, a title contender if they aren't already, right? I think they are a team that can compete in the Eastern Conference. I think a lot of it will have to do with the play of James Harden. However, if things do not work out, maybe you change the coach with Doc Rivers. But other than that, I think you pretty much have your roster. And I think you are set with this roster for at least the next season or two. And then at that point, you make some changes. But I think what he brings on the defensive end, Tobias Harris, I think is solid. He can still give you, those great offensive nights from time to time. But you have so much, firepower on the offensive end that I think he's a great piece to have. I mean, I just don't see it. He spreads the floor for you. He defends for you. He's still, liable to get you, 18 points a game. I don't think Tobias Harris is really the guy when it comes to players who can't be shipped out. But when we go to the next guy on the list, we look at a Will Barton. Now, I don't feel as confident about Will Barton staying. Now, Will Barton, to me, is in a situation with the Nuggets where they've kind of got the most out of the roster. They did not have Jamal Murray this season, so granted, he will definitely help out. But I think you kind of look for extra pieces that you can get here and there if you are, of course, the Denver Nuggets. I fully expect them to be swept. That was my prediction of this series. Maybe it goes 5. If it goes anything past 5, I am shocked. I will be shocked. How good Golden State is looking in this series. So that could be a guy they could try to get a better defender out there as well. What's it talking about on the article? Trying to go get a better defender. This Will Barton one, I can see him being on the block. I just don't see what pieces you truly get back. I could see some draft picks coming, or maybe a straight defender who's not as capable of a scorer coming back for a player like Will Barton. So Will Barton, that's solid. I'm cool on that one. The next guy on the list is actually Mike Conley, and I am 100% on board with Mike Conley being shipped out if they don't do good in the playoffs, especially if they don't get past the Dallas Mavericks with Luka missing at least the first 2 games. We'll see if he comes back for game 3 or games 4, which is a possibility. But if they lose this series, I think with Utah, and as much as they act like they don't have it, the chemistry issues that are there, I think you kind of blow this team up. There's one piece that you definitely keep for sure. So Mike Conley, I think, is a guy that could definitely go if things do not work out. I think he's, had somewhat of a down year for the Utah Jazz this season. I think he could go. It's just whether or not a team is cool with the $22 million cap hit. Maybe a team, takes that, but I'm cool with that. I'm not mad at that one at all, man. Not mad at that one at all. Next on the list, let's go ahead and scroll down. We have Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat. A sniper, a guy who can sit there, definitely spread out the floor, definitely knock down a ton of threes. For the Miami Heat, first of all, I don't see them disappointing in the playoffs. Unless they're championship or bust, which I think is definitely the goal, but I don't think it's championship or bust. I don't see him being the main guy that moves. Maybe Butler could go. Jimmy Butler, that is, but I don't think Duncan Robinson is really there unless you get great value back. And I don't think that's also the case neither. So Duncan Robinson, We'll see. I think he plays his role. He's a great shooter. Going to give you, 40% from 3-point line. That's all he does. He's not playmaking. He's not defending. He's not rebounding at a high rate. He can shoot. I just don't think you get a lot of value back. A guy who we seen on the trade block before the deadline a little bit is John Collins. And I very much so I think John Collins could get traded even if somehow the Hawks do good in these playoffs, which I think that they won't, obviously. If they did, though, he's going to go. I don't see John Collins back week or game one of opening night next season. I just don't think that's happening. So John Collins, I don't think he stays at all. Andrew Wiggins is next on this list. And Andrew Wiggins, all-star. We got to throw that out there. He's an all-star, right? I think he found somewhat of a role. And I think this Golden State team, once again, what are you going to get back that's going to help you more than having Wiggins? Wiggins is falling into that third scorer, maybe fourth, depending on, the day Jordan Poole decides to have, right? He's still going to get you 15, 15 to 5, 16 to 5. I'm cool with what he's producing. He's, a solid shooter as well for the Warriors this season. And that's not, his game. That's not his strong suit, but he's been doing well. I think he just brings a little bit of different, aspect to that Warriors offensive game. So I don't see them. I guess if they got swept, but I don't think they're going to struggle in the playoffs. I don't see Andrew Wiggins as a guy that could realistically, bring enough back that will warrant them trading. Maybe something happens and they get a haul back. I just don't see it. The next one is shocking. Pascal Siakam as another guy that is on the list. Siakam is interesting. He's interesting because he was supposed to be the guy that took that next step, that became, more than just an all-star player, but he hasn't really quite elevated to the expectations. And maybe that's on me and some others for having too high of expectations for Pascal Siakam. But I think this Raptors team, they started off very, very slow. They picked up. I think and right now, just injuries and things like that are affecting them. I think they run it back with a lot of the team, make some minor moves here and there, which means, when I'm saying minor, which means you're not going to move Pascal Siakam. So I'm going to say no on Siakam. He definitely stays, in my opinion. But the next one is interesting. I think the next few are pretty interesting, man, as we get to this. Rudy Gobert, the Utah Jazz, we just talked about them and their chemistry issues and the Jazz being a good team. And this is why it sucks, because they're a good team. And their team, I picked them to win the first round, right? Getting past the Mavericks. So they're a good team, but if they don't get past the Mavericks, I do think, like I said with Mike Conley, you blow things up. I said there's one guy that you keep, and it's not Rudy Gobert, and obviously it wasn't Mike Conley. So I could see a Gobert being moved, especially with him and Donovan Mitchell. I've seen a lot of people bring up him not passing the ball to Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think they are the best together all the time, if that makes sense. But I don't think necessarily true. Rudy Gobert is still a great defender, great rebounder. I'm not a fan of him in his low post game, or really even the pick and roll game. He's a solid screen setter, for those high screens, but high screen and roll, I'm not a huge fan of his game in that aspect. But if they break things up, I don't mind that moving, because the last guy, Donovan Mitchell, and that is the guy you keep. Like, I don't care. You get rid of everybody else. If you had to. Oh, second to last guy. Now we have one more guy left. You get rid of everybody else if you have to. Donovan Mitchell, to me, he's an untouchable. You have to hold on to him, unless you just get the craziest haul known to man. You do not move on from Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, if you're the Utah Jazz. Now, the last guy, I just talked about it. I didn't scroll down far enough when I looked at the article. The last guy, I just talked about him potentially moving anyway, and that is Jimmy Butler, which is crazy because it seemed like he fought so hard to become a member of the Miami Heat, but we've seen some instances here and there that maybe he's not the happiest in Miami, and it's not so much Miami moving him. It could be him asking to move out of Miami potentially, and that could be regardless of how the playoffs go. So that is the big guy, that the big player, the big fish that could be on the move this offseason. So all in out, this is an interesting article. I'll leave the link in the description so you guys can check it out in its entirety. Read, what they had to say at Fadeaway World about some of these players specifically being shipped out. But I wanted to give you guys our opinion. Adam Goldman is the author of this, so shout out to him for coming up with this, man. But it's interesting, man. I want to give you guys my feedback. I like the article. Great article. Give it a read. But of course, you guys know what to do. Let me know in the comment section below. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Or who are some of the players that you see outside of just playoff teams that could be shipped out in the offseason? What would you like to see happen in the offseason? Let me know you guys' opinions and comments in the comment section below. It's DLloyd. I'm see y'all next time. Peace.